She lied. And now it's all collapsing. Rachel Reeves has been exposed in what might be the most brutal takedown of a UK Chancellor we've ever seen. This isn't spin. This is pure deceit, called out live, with the evidence right there in black and white. You have to see this moment. It left the studio shaken and Reeves absolutely humiliated.
Let's talk about the other big political story of the day, if you don't mind, which is obviously Rachel Reeves. She's been doing the political rounds this morning after, some would say, it's probably the most chaotic budget certainly I've ever witnessed in my era and career on newspapers. What do you make of what she's said today, that she wasn't misleading the public, she was simply just making sure there was enough of a fiscal headroom, enough money to spend?
She lied. She lied, and there's some sort of perceived wisdom in politics. You shouldn't accuse somebody. I'm sorry, a lie is a lie, and she's lied repeatedly. Her whole career actually has been built, I'm afraid, on that. She lied on her CV to get selected and then become an MP. She lied when she claimed, when she talked about how much borrowing and spending she was going to do in order to win the election. Then she lied about whether she was going to raise taxes or not. Now she's raised taxes again. And the evidence that she has lied about this black hole and the country's financial position when she gave that extraordinary speech, which, if you remember, everybody's jaws were on the floor when she gave that speech because no one could understand what was going on. The evidence that she lied is now in the public domain. The IFS basically called her a lie. They didn't quite use the word lie, but it's the strongest worded communication I have seen from the IFS in my lifetime. And I'm afraid I can't see how she's going to get away with this. And if she gets away with this, I'm afraid we are plumbing new debts in British politics.
Well, this is what I was going to come on to as well. I mean, if Rachel Reeves does end up in trouble over this one, surely she has to take her boss, i.e. Keir Starmer, with her. He can't survive if she goes.
Well, the reason why that needs to be true and should be true is because it has now come out that he knew about it. In fact, she said this morning that he did know about it. And listen, you know, the UK gilts market trades tens of billions of pounds every day. It's the most important market in the country. As the Chancellor of the Exchequer, you have preferred and asymmetric access to certain data sets. If you start going and telling the markets, remember, she's not just speaking to the country and voters, she's also speaking to financial markets. Arguably, she was speaking to them more with that speech. A complete lie. I.e., she said the situation has worsened. I mean, we can go through it. She said the opposite of what she had been communicated by the OBR in writing. I'm sorry, that is the dictionary definition of a lie. You could make the argument that it could be termed market abuse in English law. I think it's so unbelievably serious. The only reason we're not maybe making even more of this is because we've been so desensitized to lie after lie after lie. And again, this is probably the most consequential lie she has told as Chancellor.
How are the British public ever going to trust politicians again after this? Not just the Labour Party, but the Conservative Party didn't cover themselves in glory in the past either. How are politicians ever going to get our trust back?
I think it needs a sustained period of time from politicians, people standing for office and actually in elected office, telling the truth, meaning answering the questions. I mean, if you saw her performance, we were just talking before we came on air during the break, her performance this morning, again, was utterly extraordinary. I mean, she was asked, whether it's by Trevor Phillips or Laura Keane, did you lie? And she sort of goes off on some soliloquy about fixing foundations. And then when she's really pressed on it, she says, well, no, of course I didn't. But again, the evidence, this is not conjecture. You know, the correspondence she received from the OBR is in the public domain.
Let's just have a look at what Rachel Reeves had to say this morning.
I've now delivered the budget. That budget is consistent with the speech that I made at the beginning of November to cut the cost of living, to cut NHS waiting lists and to cut the debt and the deficit. I said in that speech that everyone would need to contribute, but I kept that contribution as low as possible by asking those with the broadest shoulders.
Just for the record, would you welcome an investigation that could draw a line under this, whether you misled the markets and taxpayers or not?
I don't think that is necessary. The Office of Budget Responsibility have published their numbers.
Okay, so yeah, she doesn't think it's necessary that this is investigated further. You would obviously disagree with that.
Well, I mean, it needs to be investigated further, but one of the reasons I can sit here with a high degree of conviction, the highest possible, to say that she lied, is because the information, again, is in the public domain. And that makes it very different to many other political scandals where there's some sort of circumstantial evidence or, you know, she could argue she didn't know. She was the Chancellor of the Exchequer and claimed that the fiscal situation had worsened, when in fact she was in receipt of written correspondence from the OBR that said the opposite, that it had improved. And again, she was therefore she was disseminating false information about a market that trades tens of billions of pounds in this country. Many investors would have made investing decisions on that, but let's go back to the voters. To your question, how can we trust anything that Rachel Reeves says ever again? By the way, I don't think many GB News viewers trusted her anyway, but I still think there are people out there. I think she's already the most unpopular Chancellor of all
Since
time.
Freckles began, and the most unpopular Prime Minister as well.
Yeah, so they've already got that set, so the question is how much further they can go. We are adamant that not only must she go, but as you said, Starmer needs to resign as well.
Okay,
What you just witnessed was a Chancellor exposed in real time, and it's not just a political scandal, it's a national disgrace. Rachel Reeves was caught red-handed pushing a narrative that the fiscal situation had worsened, when in fact she had written evidence from the OBR saying the complete opposite. That's not a mistake, that's not a spin, that's a calculated lie, and not just to the public, to the markets, to investors, to every voter in this country. She stood there and claimed she didn't mislead anyone, while the facts she received in writing told a totally different story. That's market abuse, that's deception, that's dangerous. And let's not forget, Keir Starmer knew. Reeves admitted it. He was aware. He stood by and let it happen. If she goes down for this, he must go with her. Because this isn't just about Labour, it's about truth, trust, and the very foundations of British democracy. So what now? Do we just move on and pretend this didn't happen? Or do we hold them to account? You tell us. Do you think Rachel Reeves should resign? Should Keir Starmer step down too? Let us know in the comments. Hit like if you believe the truth matters. Subscribe for more reactions the mainstream media won't show you.